Good morning, class, the receiving school students and teachers.
Good morning, Mrs. Patagas.
How are you all this morning?
We are very well, thank you. And how are you this morning?
I'm very well, just like you. Thank you. You may be seated. Plan well to eat well. Plan well to eat well. That's our phrase for the next few lessons that we will be having. Plan well to eat well. If I can have someone to tell me what you think of that phrase. Anybody? Thank you. We have Melin.
Think carefully before you eat.
Good, thank you. Anybody else besides Melin? That's what Melin says. What about the others? Shane?
What we need to eat, we have to plan before we eat something so that we could eat well and satisfy ourselves.
Very good. How you eat, the type of food you eat, whether it's nutritious or what, depends on how you plan it. If you plan well, you have everything that is needed, then you are, end result, you are having or eating a good meal that is nutritious. Very good. Now we are still on nutrition, and we are going to be looking at action plan. Action plan. Now if I can have someone to tell me what you think of action plan. We have looked at action plan in the past 2 terms, and it's not new. And I'd like someone to tell me what action plan is. Now in here, this action plan we are talking about in this lesson is basically on food or on nutrition. So if I can have someone to tell me what action plan is. Messi, do you want to try?
Outline of activities in a sizable order of doing something in order to.
Very good, thank you. And in here, we are talking about food, okay, nutrition, food, and in making an action plan, when it's to do with food, there are things that we have to consider. If I can have someone to give me an example of what we have to think about or consider when we are making an action plan about nutrition or nutritious meal. Someone who can give me just one factor that we have to think of. Thank you, Carol. We have one from you and one from Violet.
What needs to be bought and if you can afford it?
What needs to be
Bought.
Good. What needs to be bought and if we can afford it. Here we are talking about food. What you need to cook, can you afford that? If you don't have it available. Violet, what else?
Come from.
The resources, okay? Resources. And we say facilities because they all go together. Resources and facilities, and where to obtain. Okay, resources and facilities and where to obtain them. these are some of the things, okay? These are some of the things that we have to consider besides others when we are making an action plan on nutrition. Now there are also reasons why we have to make an action plan. I'd like you to think about that as we look at the definition together. Think about the reasons for making an action plan as you have that copied into your exercise books or workbooks on what is an action plan, especially with nutrition. And if I can have Paul there to read that for us.
Series of steps or action plans or actions of cooking a nutritious meal that is to be written down in detail before the actual cooking is done.
Very good, thank you. It's clearly read and there on the screen. Let's see the reasons. Let me just have two examples or two reasons why we have to make an action plan about or on a nutritious meal. Brendan, why do we have to make an action plan on a nutritious meal? Okay. Good. Okay. Once you make the action plan, then you are able to know exactly what you are going to cook. Any other reasons besides what we have from Brendan? Let's say one girl. How about Rachel?
Know what to do and cook. Like what you have to, the resources.
Okay. So know the resources and facilities. The type of resources and facilities that you need. Okay? So with the help of the plan, action plan that you make, you already know the resources and the facilities that you need to have with you in order to cook whatever you desire to cook. Now let's see what I have there. I have about 4 basic reasons. Linda, read the first one for us. Basically, it helps out in identifying the first one.
What is to be cooked?
Very good. What is to be cooked? Patrick, the second one.
How it is to be cooked?
How it is to be cooked. Thank you. Justin, the third one.
Resources and facilities needed.
Okay, good. Resources and facilities needed. And Elisa, the last one. Last reason.
Where to obtain everything needed.
Okay, good. So those 4 are the basic reasons why it's necessary to make an action plan or a plan before you can cook what you desire to cook. Now we look at factors to consider. Factors to consider. There are certain factors that we have to consider when we are making an action plan. And as we go through it, please, I'd like the model class and the receiving school students to take record of what we have to go through, because you will need it to help you when we come to the actual doing of the action plan. Firstly, we look at the recipe. Recipe is the first thing that we look at when we are making an action plan. Now, a recipe. Can someone tell me what a recipe is? What is a recipe? Thank you, Adrian.
Modes of cooking.
Very good. Thank you. Now, a recipe is made up of two things, and that is ingredients is the first, and method. Recipe is made up of ingredients and method. Now, if you want to have the definition for recipe written, you can do so. And it's, again, it says recipes consist of ingredients and methods. Now, if someone can tell me what ingredients are, what are ingredients? This one here. What are ingredients? In a recipe, we have ingredients and methods. What are ingredients? Violet?
Food needed for the actual recipe.
Very good. Food needed for that actual recipe, whatever you want to cook. The food dish that you want to cook, ingredients is actually the food needed. How about method? Method? Violet has given us ingredients. Yes, Linda? Method?
Ways or steps of cooking.
Very good. Steps in cooking that recipe or the food dish. So we say recipe is food dish, food needed, steps. Steps in cooking. Okay, ingredients, as Violet has said earlier, foods needed to make a recipe. Have that done quickly in your workbooks. We also have method. Method says directions on how to prepare, cook, and serve the food dish. Now, the second factor to consider, once again, is family size. Family size, number of people in the family, and however you cook, the quantity, amount of food you cook has to depend on the number of people you have in the family. And family size, sometimes you have to include others if you are having relatives coming to visit and all that. Those are also included in that family size. Now, in family size, it talks about number of people to be catered for. Number of people to be catered for. The third factor to consider is resources and facilities. Resources and facilities are very important, very necessary. So when we are making a plan, we have to consider that. Once we have the right facilities and we have the resources available with us, then we are able to cook whatever we have to cook well. Resources and facilities. Have that written quickly, and Tassi, if you can read for us what it says.
Time, cost, money, equipment, and other facilities needed for obtaining, cooking, and serving.
Very good. It talks about time. When you are going to cook that meal, what time you are going to eat, and what time you expect to finish that meal. The cost of it, money also goes together with the type of food that you need, equipment, and other facilities too. And in equipment here, we are talking about cooking, preparing, and serving, as well as where you have to obtain whatever you need to cook. Now, if you don't have the facilities, what can you do? Gail, if you don't have the facilities, you have planned to cook a food dish and you find that you don't have the facilities. Example, you don't have a baking dish. What do?
Ask someone who has any.
Very good. Ask someone, borrow this and use it. Instead of going and buying new one, because that's money that could be used for you to buy something else. Good food, you may be using it to buy a new dish for cooking. Thank you. Now, we also have availability of resources, facilities, and food. Can someone tell me what we mean by availability of resources, facilities, and food? Yes, Carol, thank you. At the back.
What resources and food you have?
Very good. Check to see the resources, facilities, and the food that you have before you can plan what to cook. Now, if you don't have the food, what do? What can you do, Daira? What can you do if you don't have the food available?
Buy them.
Okay, you have to go and buy it. If you are in the village, you have your food gardens, you can go and get whatever you need from the gardens. Okay, we also have sequence the activities in order of happenings. That is the fifth one. Sequencing the activities in order of happenings. Activities. Sequence the activities in order. It says the first activity you do to the last activity where the food is eaten. Now, our lesson activity is on action plan. We've just gone through 5 points, or the 5 factors to consider when making an action plan. And I'd like you to take account of that when you are working together in your groups to do your action plan. If I can have the runners, please, runners from each group, come and get. You need to have 2 papers and a marker. It's supposed to be 2. Okay, in groups, discuss how to do the action plan and what to do using the points given earlier in the lesson. Now, to help you, I have the areas to consider, and that is what you will be discussing about together in your groups. Now, discuss, and if you would like to make a draft done, you can do so and have it on clean paper. So you have to think of the type of recipe first. What recipe are you going to prepare? That's when you say baking, then you're talking about a cooking method, how you're going to cook it. But here is the food dish. Recipe is the food dish. So what type of recipe are you going to prepare or do? Think about it. If I can have your attention again, this is with recipe. Recipe is talking about, okay, food dish. Can somebody give me an example of a recipe that you can make? One we can have is fried rice. Okay, so fried rice is a food dish. That's a recipe. And there are ingredients to make fried rice. There is also a method to go through steps to have rice fried. So fried rice is an example of a food dish. So to do recipe, you have to discuss what food dish you are going to be basing your action plan on before you can go on to the ingredients and method. Chicken stew. Okay, so that is your food dish. You've already found out your food dish now. Your food dish is chicken stew. So whatever you are going to do, it's all going to be based on making that dish now. So the next one, it says, in recipe, you have to know that there are two things that make up a recipe. There's the ingredients and the method. So you have to have the ingredients to do that chicken stew and the method. Okay. Before you go to the next one, which says family size, you have to do that, whatever the recipes consist of. Okay. We will be we have another lesson to complete it. Yeah. So now you are discussing about it, have it done, okay? Draft done, and then later on you write it out neatly for presentation. Okay. A reminder again, class and receiving school students, do not forget that recipe is made up of two things, the ingredients and method. So you have to consider that. When you come up with your food dish, then you have to think of the ingredients for that food dish, and then you also work on the method before you come to the second point, which is family size. Now you talk about it together and have it done, and we will be completing this in the next lesson. So I'd like you to have this time to discuss about it, have it done, a draft done, and then you can have it written neatly. Is everybody sure with what to do with recipe? Yeah, you all have to contribute. Now, which means you don't use this paper. Okay, just use 1/1. So, yeah, okay. So what's your food dish? Your friends theirs is chicken stew. So that's their food dish, and yours. You have to have your food dish, and then once you know your food dish, then you know what you are going to cook. So you will know the food that you need, the ingredient you need, and the method how to do that. So Tulanga, Justin, Carol, what's your food dish? Those ones there is chicken stew. There are plenty of food dish that you can make. Okay, think about your food dish. What's your food dish? You have to know your food dish, because once you decide upon the food dish, then you are able to know ingredient, food you need. You are able to know the method. So, what is your food dish? What? Baking. Baking is a method, but the food that you are going to bake. And make sure you know the ingredients, the food you need. Make sure you know the method, the steps.
Yeah.
Okay, but don't forget here we are talking about nutritious meal. Like group one they are doing chicken stew. Yeah. So think of one a food dish, and then you base your what on that. What's your food dish?
Chicken stew.
Chicken stew. I have group one doing chicken stew.
Okay, this is what I can use that like this.
It's out. Okay, listen. You can have, but then change the protein to another protein. Where because group one is doing chicken stew, so you change the protein. Stew can stay, but you change the protein. Just have a clean line across. Okay, good. Now while about two should be working on the ingredients, the rest of you should be now discussing on the method, the steps that takes to make that or cook that food dish. So you should be all discussing about that instead of just sitting down waiting for one person. And once you are doing that, think about the family size and all those other things. What's your food dish?
We just give
What? Group one, they have chicken stew. Those ones they are doing, I don't know, there's a beef stew or something. But there are others that you can do. And you have to decide on your food dish. And once you know the food dish, then you are able to know the ingredients you need to make the food dish, and then the method. So think of your food dish quickly, have it done, written, okay? And two should be working on the ingredients. The other three, you should be working on the method. Okay. You get it done on one of the papers, and after that, have it written neatly there. We're going to continue in the next lesson, complete it. What's your food dish?
Chicken stew.
We have chicken stew from group one. Beef stew with group 4. Now chicken and beef and all that is with commercially produced. How about local food? Yeah, that's a dish. That's a food dish. Now, okay, 4 of you, you should be working on the method now. Don't wait for one person to, because it takes time. And the 3 of you, think of the ingredients now. You talk about the ingredients that you need for that food dish, and the 4 of you now, you start thinking of the method. Have a paper, start listing out your method now. Steps. How to do the food dish. How do you do the food dish? You are saying, is it mumu or aigir? Because mumu is different from aigir. Or you are doing that, huh? Okay, your food dish is aigir. Now 4 of you discuss together the steps. What do you do first, second, especially in the method for IGIR? Gail? What's our food dish? Oh, okay. I don't know, but okay, see. Now here we have to make an action plan of a nutritious meal. Yes, Shane?
Family size, what do you actually mean?
Family size, you consider when you are making that IGIR, that's your food dish, you think of the family. Okay, if you have big family, then the quantity of food, your ingredients,
You have to multiply.
yeah, how much you are going to have. Your what is, okay, now we are talking about action plan on a nutritious meal. So what goes with that bariva? Because if you just have that bariva, it's not nutritious. There has to be something else, some other foods added to make that make it nutritious. So think about that too. Rachel, did you say fish? Okay, so you can have bariva and fish. That can be your what? Yeah, your food dish. So have together. Fish should be added there. Okay, now what you're going to do now, there are 7 of you. 3 of you start working on the ingredients. Okay, food needed for that. The 4 of you will discuss about the method to do that bariva there. So have it done on another piece of paper and then you can, oh, yours is there. Let me see. Okay, that's nice. You have it already there. Have your ingredients. Okay. Now ingredients, you need different ones, so you have to have it. Have your methods done too. Okay, and after that, you go on to the family size. Consider that bariva that you are going to make. When you are looking at the ingredients, how much do you need? How much of the bananas, bunch of bananas, how many do you need if you have? And that depends on the family size. Fish, how many do you have? You have to consider that. So if you have fish, if you have about 7 in the family, then how many? How many fish do you really need? Do you need to have only 1 fish? Can they cater for the 7 family members? Okay, these are some of the things you consider. That's when you come to ingredients, you can consider that when you are doing that. Okay. What? Okay, just have it on the done on the paper. You have to make sure you have a draft, work on it, and then after that, if you see that you are happy with what you have done, then you get it done on the paper. Okay. Oh, what you change yours to what?
Stir fried.
Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah. What? Minced meat. Yeah, a bit of oil, not so. Yeah, not so much. Yeah, because it's a bit fatty, so you at least just need a bit of it, little, not so much. Have you decided now? Oh, so your recipe salad. Okay, what type of salad? Is it fruit salad, vegetable salad? Okay, then you have to write vegetable salad because there are different types of salads. So you have vegetable salad. Okay? So have there written vegetable salad. Yes, Atula. Huh? I don't have any. Good. Okay, what's your what now? You did not make up your mind when I came around? Okay, so that's your food dish. spicy vegetables and fish. Okay, good. So you get it done like that. After that, you can get it on the paper. And don't forget, the ingredients depends on the family size you have. Okay? If you have a big family, you have to consider how much you need to cater for the big family. Because if you don't plan well, you find that your big family, you run out of food. Or what you have prepared won't be enough for everyone. So when making plans, always consider the family size. So what you cook is can cater everybody in the family. Also, your resources and facilities. While the other 2 or 3 doing that, another 3 should be thinking of the resources and facilities. What type of facilities are you going to use? And all those. Instead of waiting for one person to work on that. Let's see what you have come up with. Let's see what you have come up with. If I can have, I'll just go through the class quickly and you let me know your food dishes. So we are all not doing the same food dishes. Let's have group 1, your food dish. Okay, group 1, they are doing stir-fried pork. Okay, group 2, yours is?
Spaghetti and mincemeat.
Spaghetti and mincemeat, good. Group 3, yours, your food dish?
Vegetable salad.
Vegetable salad, good. Let's say group 4, yours?
Beef stew.
What is it?
Beef stew.
Beef stew, good. Group 5?
Spicy vegetables and fish.
Spicy vegetables and fish. Group 6?
We'll be making agir.
Okay, good. So group 6, they are doing a local dish, food dish, which is agir. Let's see group 7.
Pariwa and fish.
Bariwa and fish, good. So group 6 and 7 are doing some local food dishes. That's very good. Now, so you will be basing on those food dishes, you have to work on your action plan. Let's have a look at what our key phrase for this lesson is, Jennifer. What is a key phrase for this lesson?
Action plan.
Action plan, thank you. And our next lesson activity will be still on the action plan. Now that you all know the food dish that you are going to be basing your action plan on, you should be able to get it completed and to the class and the receiving school students. If you could work on that in your own time, okay, try to get it halfway so in the next lesson we can get our action plans completed. And with that, good morning to the model class, the receiving school students and teachers.
Good morning, Mrs. Watakas. And thank you for your lesson.
Receiving schools, here's a reference for the next lesson: strand, substrand, outcome, topic, materials, and reference.